One winter night, just about 40 years ago, standing on the west side of Park Avenue, and I'm looking up, and there is that light coming out of those Park Avenue buildings. And it's just dazzling. For me, I just wanted to be part of that. And it still has a magic for me today. I hadn't traveled that much as a kid. I'd never been more than 250 miles away from Somers, the small town that I grew up in. When I came to Georgetown, I was coming to a new universe, and it set me back on my heels because it was so big. It was a big place geographically. It was a place of big ideas, and that it prepares you if you want to do big things later on. So Georgetown opened my eyes to the world.
Bob was a Hoya when he was at Georgetown. Bob was an actor. He was involved with athletics.
He took a real advantage of what the university had to offer and what the city had to offer.
If I hadn't found Georgetown, I probably would have ultimately gone back to Somers. And I didn't. I went to New York. I love the action, and I love being there, and I love the excitement and the charge of it.
I used to refer to him as the Knickerbocker, the quintessential New Yorker, the guy who knew everything that was going on in Manhattan.
It's not just Manhattan, it's all parts of New York City. I think probably all the boroughs.
He loves his city and everything that it represents.
When you're in New York and people know you're from Georgetown, one of the questions I most often get, do you know Bob Billingsley?
1971, I went to a firm called Cross and Brown. Stayed there for 7 years with a fellow named Bob Abrams. We left to form our own company, Collier's ABR. My other operating partner, Mark Wazzy, and I decided that the world of real estate had changed and we need to get bigger and better. So we rolled up a bunch of firms into Cassidy Turley.
Cassidy Turley.
Bob was very instrumental in the formation of Cassidy Turley. Today we are one of the largest property management organizations in the United States, and I do believe without Bob and the New York office, we would not be where we are today.
I don't think there's anybody that knows more about real estate in New York than Bob.
These buildings are like cathedrals to me, and I know who built them, and I know who's in them.
He can point to buildings all over the city and tell you the history of the building.
277 Park Avenue, we've managed that for 35 years. 250 Park Avenue, we've managed that for 25 years. And in those times, your customers they go through rough times. And there are things that you could do in a short period of time that would be good for you, but would be bad for them. So if you're going to build a career, you have to think in terms of a long-term picture. And I have found that in doing that, it's come back to me many times over.
At Cassidy Turley, Bob has always been the guy who has stood up and led the culture of caring about others, never about the money. It's always been about, is it the right thing to do?
Bob has filled every leadership role there is at Georgetown. He was a board of governor. He was on the Regents. He's a member of the Foreign Service School Board. He rejuvenated the New York City Club and reignited the membership there.
It's hard to imagine a person who could find more ways to give back to Georgetown than Bob Billingsley.
Paul and I were down here on a weekend, and we were at a Board of Governors meeting, and someone from the class of 1970 said, we're going to be the first class to raise $1 million. And we looked at each other and we said, so's your old man. The class of 68 is going to be the first class to raise $1 million for Georgetown.
It was our 25th anniversary, and of course we had the fabulous party at the White House. Bob said, New York's where the money is. Georgetown needs the money. You're a banker, I'm in real estate, let's go.
Bob Billingsley is one of the leaders of the class, responsible for setting standards for every class that would follow as to what they should seek to achieve in terms of their philanthropic support.
It's hard to say no to Bob when he asks for your help because he always delivers when someone asks of him.
Everybody says, well, you've done all this, and aren't you good to do it? But it's like being good for enjoying ice cream, It is such a labor of love. I wish business was as easy in terms of making deals as it is to meet someone who went to Georgetown and just, you know, get them up and going.
He was instrumental in the leadership of John Carroll in New York in 2009.
It was a fabulous weekend, and it really was his weekend, and it's funny in the sense that he put his stamp on it. He put himself into it, much like he did and has done for Georgetown all his life.
Georgetown has a brand, and it's a first-class brand. And I wanted to do it in a way that people would go and there would be a wow factor. I wanted to show off Georgetown to New York, and I wanted to show off New York to Georgetown.
The only time that I'm surprised by Bob is when I sit next to him watching a Georgetown basketball game, and if we're not doing well, yeah, I better move my seat.
I roll up the program, and the person sitting next to me may be the victim of one of my blows.
But now I know that about him, so I know not to sit right next to him. Bob is a lover of life. Friends and family are foremost to him, and his work. They're all connected in his daily life.
My business world, my family world, and my Georgetown world are very integrated. A lot of my customers are my Georgetown friends. My kids went to Georgetown.
He's been seasoned by 3 beautiful women in his life, his wife Jan and 2 daughters who are Georgetown alumni.
There's a Randy Travis song, only 2 things that last to the end. One are your heroes, the other's your friends. They'll both stand beside you through thick and through thin. That's how it goes with heroes and friends. And what I would say about Bob is he's both.
To Robert L. Billingsley, a good friend, a great American, the one fixed point in a changing age, who picked up the bar bill in the hard years. Always there when the going was rough, he never passed the dice, when the hard money was on the line. That's my friend.
Retirement is the R word. I don't see myself doing that.
He may be one of those guys they take out with his boots on.
I think he's got to be pried out of the job in New York City. He's going to have to be pried away from Georgetown, and I don't think that will ever work.
I think this type of an honor, while he'll enjoy it, I think he's just as happy to be part of it too on other years, because he's always been a supporter of the Alliance.
To be recognized by the university that is so near and dear to his heart, he's got to be thrilled.
The Wall Street Alliance is the bridge between New York and Georgetown. It's the reason why Park Avenue to me is like Healy's Circle. Someday, 20 years from now, at this dinner, there are going to be people who got scholarship money because of the Wall Street Alliance, and they're going to be movers and shakers in this town.